Hey everyone, I'm Will Evertson, and I'm here today with Erin Pavlina, intuitive counselor, blogger, and author at erinpavlina.com. So today we're going to talk about astral projection. It's a very interesting topic, and I know that amongst Erin's readers, it's a very popular topic. So, Erin, we should probably start with a brief explanation on what astral projection is.
So astral projection is very similar to an out-of-body experience, which probably a lot of people have heard of more than astral projection, but they're basically the same thing, which involves your spirit or your soul or your consciousness leaving your body for a short period of time and wandering or traveling out on the astral plane.
Okay, so what exactly is the astral plane?
So the astral plane, I would say, is like another dimension. It's another plane of existence that coincides and maybe even intersects a little bit with ours, but is not here. It's not the same space time. So it's kind of like another dimension, another plane.
Okay, so you say that our spirit leaves our body, isn't that kind of dangerous?
Yeah, to a lot of people, when you say my spirit left my body, you think, well, aren't you dead?
Right.
Because that is generally what happens when your spirit leaves your body, or actually when you die. There's an astral cord that connects your body with your astral self, your soul. And when you die, that cord gets severed and you don't come back to your body. So then the body dies and decays, but your soul, continues onward.
Okay. So when did you learn about astral projection?
So it's actually around 15 years old. I was doing a science fair project on dreams, and I read a lot of books on the subject. And in one of them, I read a lot of books about lucid dreaming, and in one of the books it talked about astral projection. I thought, that's really weird, leaving your body. Why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
That sounded really scary, but I did think it was interesting. And after I had mastered lucid dreaming, I decided to try to learn astral projection. I did eventually figure out how to do it with a little help from beings on the other side who helped initiate the separation for me. And then once I was able to experience that, then I was able to do it when I wanted to, and not just accidentally.
So this is kind of the sort of the thing that you need practice with. Are there people that can naturally just astral project without any kind of practice or training?
I would say that anybody is capable of astral projection, but it's not the easiest thing to accomplish. The body has a natural desire to hang on to its spirit, its soul, and so overcoming that initial separation, that fear, is very difficult. But it's learnable. You can learn how to do it, and there's steps you can take to increase your chances. But I wouldn't say that anybody could guarantee that you'd be able to astral project, but you can definitely make your odds better.
Okay. So what are some of the things that you can do when you're outside your body and you're astral projecting?
So one of the first things that happens to people when they first astral project is they just fly around their room. Suddenly you're free, you're outside of your body, and you fly down the hallway, you're flying downstairs, you fly outside, and it's a very exhilarating experience. So I think initially, and even if this was the only thing you ever did, you get to fly around and travel the world, and you can go as far as you possibly can. And I've been up to the moon. You can go out to astral or the outer space, and you can go visit your friends. And so there's a lot of travel that you can do, like legit. Let's go to the top of Mount Everest and see what that's like. Wow. Without having to get out of your bed. So that's a benefit. But then when you get really rolling with this, you start to interact with other conscious beings that are on the astral plane. You can connect up with a deceased relative who is also intersecting with that plane. You can talk to your spirit guides. You can even go back in time. You can witness historical events. So there's a lot.
It's really it's not the same concept of space and time that we understand it in our mortal consciousness.
Exactly. It's extremely different. And so you don't want to limit yourself to this space-time. So a lot of people will just fly around and go through the wall and say, hey, that's neat. Or they'll go visit a friend or something. But you can use the experience and the ability to reach other planes and other frequencies and other places and connect with beings that you can't connect with consciously when you're here.
So it's a great big world out there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you actually wrote a book about astral projection. It's the Astral Projection Guidebook. Mm-hmm. So what made you decide to write a book about astral projection?
Yes. So there was a movie out called Insidious, and It was a movie about a kid who gets lost on the astral plane, and some demon is trying to take over his body while he's out. So after that, I started receiving so many questions about astral projection. The main one was, can something possess your body while you're gone? The answer is no. Nothing can jump in you while you're out because your astral cord is like a bookmark and it keeps you anchored in your body. But I started getting about 100 questions a week.
Wow.
From people asking maybe a variation on 10 different questions. I thought, I can't answer everybody's questions individually. Maybe if I wrote everything I know about astral projection in a book, they can just read the book and it's right there and I can start referring people to the book. And so I wrote the book.
That's great. And I actually personally, I've read the book. I found it to be extremely helpful and insightful. I've also seen Insidious, and I saw the movie before reading the book. It was something that intrigued me, but also was, the movie portrays it in kind of a frightening manner.
Very terrifying.
Aside from the sensationalism that the movie had, is it basically the same concept that they're talking about, or is it?
They did get a lot of things right. I mean, you can leave your body and you can travel to other planes. You can travel to higher planes. You can travel to lower planes. And a lot of people do encounter a lower vibrational entity, and that does scare you quite a bit because they do feed on fear. So a lot of people are very naturally afraid when they first separate. And that attracts these lower vibrational entities to you like a moth to a flame. Mm-hmm. And they just kind of want to snack on that energy while you're terrified. And that turns a lot of people off to astral projection, and, understandably. But once you get past that, if you can raise your vibration and you can changing the channel, those entities disappear. They're just gone. They're not part of your plane anymore. Then you're off and running, and then you can start connecting with the higher beings and your deceased relatives and some really cool, interesting beings that are out there.
So, you talk about these lower vibrational entities, and you've also received some criticism for talking about the darker side of astral projection. And some critics say you're scaring people away from wanting to experiment with astral projection or research it. So how would you respond to that criticism?
Yeah, I have seen I've gotten a lot of emails from people and some stuff on like the Amazon reviews where people saying she's just scaring everybody. The thing of it is, it's like, if I were to tell you to go on a picnic and you're like, great, I'm just going to go put my blanket down under this nice tree, and nobody tells you that there's a beehive above you. I feel like that's irresponsible, because there are so many people who have metaphorically put their blanket down under a beehive and are getting stung. So I felt like if I didn't talk about it and prepare people to overcome it, that I was actually doing everyone a disservice by not preparing them for what they could encounter. But I spend most of the book talking about how to astral project in a safe, joyful way, so that you don't have to encounter the negative stuff.
Right. So sort of the more you know type of thing, a full disclosure on here's everything about astral projection, not just the cool stuff.
Exactly. Otherwise, it's like if I pushed you out of an airplane and then explained to you how to work your parachute. I feel like I gotta explain it before you get out there so you know how to handle it if there's a mistake.
Right. So what's one of the big misconceptions that people have about astral projection?
Misconceptions. I guess a lot of people think that a lot of people think that astral projection is impossible, that you can't leave your body, that it makes no sense, that it's not possible. When you've actually astral projected and you've been able to describe to your friends or family what you saw them doing, and it's accurate, and you weren't there except astrally, people start to figure that out. But yeah, there are a lot of misbeliefs. People think, a demon can take your body, or that you may get lost and never come back, or that something could sever your astral cord. But I go over in the book a lot of those misconceptions and debunk them.
Okay, great. And so do you think, we touched a little bit on it earlier, but do you think that anyone can learn astral projection?
I think everyone's capable, but it does take time, practice, and focus. You got to concentrate. You really have to practice it. But the more that you practice, the more likely you are to experience it. And working ahead of time to prepare yourself energetically and mentally so you get over the fear of it will make it happen a lot faster. Because I get a lot of people write to me and say, I was right on the edge. I was so close to being able to leave my body and I didn't know what to do because I was so afraid, so I just went back in.
Right, and these are all topics that you cover in the book as well, right?
Yes, extensively.
So, well, Erin, thank you. It was really fascinating topic. I know I've been reading up on astral projection for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
If you would like a copy of the Astral Projection Guidebook, it's available on Amazon.com in both digital format and in physical copy. You can also visit erinpavlina.com. She has hundreds of articles and features that she has on astral projection. So check out the website, check out the book, and Erin, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.